Hey guys, be sure to visit my Facebook page store where you can buy anything figure related directly from me. I have a wide variety of figures, accessories, anything ranging from hot toys to SH Figuarts, Figma, and third-party items as well. All you have to do is message me on Facebook, visit my Facebook page for more info. I'll leave a link in the description below.
Toward grips, flared magwell for easier reloads, and I know you'll appreciate the custom porting. AR-15, 11.5 inch, compensated with an iron-bonded bolt carrier, Trigicon AccuPoint with 1.6 magnification.
How's it going, my fellow collectors? I'm back again with another Hot Toys video review. This time we're going to be looking at the MMS 504 John Wick Chapter 2 John Wick. We're going to start this review off as usual with the first category, of course, being the source information. And if you guys remember my video that I made of my custom John Wick figure from part 1, I mentioned that I hadn't seen John Wick Chapter 2 yet. But I've seen it now, so let's talk about it. And just a disclaimer, there will be spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to hear any of this, skip ahead now or turn off the video. So John Wick Chapter 2 basically picks up where Part 1 left off, which is a recurring theme in the John Wick franchise. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, they all pick up where the last one left off. So Chapter 2 picks up where Part 1 left off after he had killed the Mafia son and the Mafia father from the Russian mob. John's next objective is to pick up his car that they stole from him, and it's being held in an impound owned by the brother of the father of the Russian mob. So the movie begins basically, John is on his way over there to pick up his car by force. So that's what he does, and in the process, he ends up totaling his car. And then when he gets home, he asks John Leguizamo if he can fix it up for him. And then after that, the main story of Chapter 2 begins. A man named Santino D'Antonio pays him a visit at his house, and D'Antonio is a real big shot because he has a seat at the high table, which is the organization John Wick works for. So D'Antonio asks John for a favor, and he has a blood marker, and on the inside there is a fingerprint of John Wick stamped in his blood. So it basically means that he owes the owner of this blood marker a favor, which is D'Antonio. And when the favor is completed, the owner of the blood marker puts their fingerprint with their blood on the other side of the blood marker, basically saying that the favor has been paid. So since D'Antonio had that blood marker on John Wick, John was forced to do the assignment against his will for him. So the assignment involves killing D'Antonio's sister, who is head of another part of the family business. And D'Antonio basically wants to kill his sister because he wants to take over her portion of the family business. So John Wick's assignment is to kill D'Antonio's sister. And John completes his mission, but shortly after that, D'Antonio decides to double-cross John Wick, and he tries to have him killed. And of course, John doesn't like that very much, so he decides to go after D'Antonio. And once John almost has him, and he's about to kill him, D'Antonio goes into the Continental Hotel, which is owned by the High Table organization that John works for. And inside that hotel, there is no business allowed to be conducted on the grounds of the Continental Hotel. The rules of engagement are off limits inside the hotel, meaning that they can't conduct assassinations or anything like that inside the hotel. So D'Antonio kind of rubs it in John's face that, laughing at him, that he can't do anything to him while he's in there, and he can be there forever because they have food, they have a place for him to stay, and basically, like, he's untouchable. So, of course, that pisses off John Wick, and John decides to shoot him in the head, regardless. And that basically forces the owner of the hotel to excommunicate John Wick from the High Table organization. But since the hotel owner had known John for a while, he decided to show some leeway and give John an hour to leave the city before he puts out a contract killing for John. And immediately after that, John makes a run for it. And that's basically how the movie ends. So I'm going to give the movie a 9 out of 10 because it was just as good as the first one. And that's the score that I gave the first one. To talk you guys through this pose, this is a recreation of John Wick Part 1, where he's in the parking lot outside the church, and it's a shootout between him and the Russian mob. And he just ran out of ammo for the HK-416, and really quickly he pulls out his P-30L and starts unloading on all the Russian gangsters. Alright guys, so stick with me and we'll roll on to the next category. Alright, so continuing on with the packaging. So right away we get this all blue slip cover with some black trim around the edges. And smack dab in the middle we get some symbols all around the name of John Wick. And it's all in a metallic reflective sheen. And right below that it says 1/6 scale collectible figure, MMS 504. And I'm kind of puzzled as to why it says John Wick and it doesn't say John Wick Chapter 2. Because the figure is based off of Chapter 2 and not Chapter 1. So I'm kind of puzzled as to why they would just only put John Wick and not add Chapter 2 below that. Oh well, moving on. And on the bottom right you get the Hot Toys logo, and on the bottom left you get the Movie Masterpiece logo. And on the top you get John Wick, and on the bottom you get John Wick. And on one side you get more symbols and patterns. And I'm thinking that all these symbols and patterns are supposed to represent the theme of the organization that John Wick works for, which is the High Table. So in the middle here you get the name John Wick. And in vertical writing here we get MMS 504. And on the other side it's the exact same thing. And then on the back, on the very top, you get the Hot Toys logo with the Hot Toys information, the Secret Base logo with the Secret Base information, the Rebel Base logo with the Rebel Base information, and the Toy Hunters logo with the Toy Hunters information. Right below that, you get the warnings and choking hazards and stuff nobody really reads. And below that, you get the name John Wick again with more symbols. And right below that, you get more warnings and stuff that nobody really reads. You get the Lionsgate logo on the very bottom, and then below that you get the barcode. And then once we remove the slip cover, we get a window displaying the figure and all of its accessories. And then on one side of the inner box, we get a symbol of the blood marker that's used in Chapter 2. And there's nothing on the top and nothing on the bottom, but it's all in a book cover texture, like a leather book cover texture. And on the other side, it's the exact same thing. And on the top, we get a symbol of a cross with two praying hands. And right below that, it says Hot Toys Presents Movie Masterpiece Series, MMS 504, John Wick. And below that, you get the cast and crew responsible for making the figure and the outfit and all of its accessories. And you can pause it right there if you want to read through that. And on the very bottom, you get the Hot Toys logo, and it says produced by Hot Toys Limited. Below that, you get the Lionsgate logo again. So, not too bad. It's an average box. Nothing too flashy. But then again, it is John Wick, and he's not known to be very flashy. He wears nice suits and all, but it's all always business with him. So for the packaging, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Alright, so stay tuned and we'll move on to the next category. Okay, now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I gotta tell you guys, this is not one of Hot Toys' best work. When it comes to head sculpts, it's not 100% Keanu Reeves in my opinion. I know that the eyes are a little bit too beady, and there's something else that I quite can't put my finger on that's also throwing this likeness off. I don't know what it is, but like I said, it's not 100% Keanu Reeves. I don't know what it is about his face. Hot Toys just can't seem to get it down. I guess it's just one of those unique faces. Because, you know, they didn't do so well with the Neo head sculpt either. And now this John Wick figure. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just not all there. I'm gonna give it a 95% accuracy. It is cool that it came with the battle damage though. You got blood all over his face and some cuts, so that's cool. And for a brief comparison, here is the 11 head sculpt alongside the Hot Toys head sculpt. So neither of them is 100% accurate. The eyes on the 11 head sculpt are 100% accurate, a lot more than the Hot Toys head sculpt. And the nose on the Hot Toys head sculpt is 100% accurate, more than the 11 head sculpt. So there's some good and bad aspects on both of these head sculpts. Maybe if we had some of the people from 11 work alongside the people from Hot Toys, maybe then we would get a perfect John Wick head sculpt. So for the likeness, I'm going to have to give it an 8 out of 10. And to talk you guys through this pose, we have Baba Yaga taking a stroll through New York City with his dog. It's funny that he never gave the dog a name. I'll give you guys a good view of the dog. Alright, so stick with me guys and we'll continue on with the review. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm not too impressed with this outfit. Don't get me wrong, the quality of the material is excellent. Hot Toys standard, again. But there's some things that I'm unhappy with. We'll go through them right now. The first thing we're going to talk about is the shoes. We've seen these shoes over and over again in the past. The Dark Knight Rises Lieutenant Jim Gordon. The Wolverine from the Wolverine movie with the black suit, that's another one. And there are several others. I mean, I don't know about accuracy. I wasn't really paying attention to his shoes during the movie. So maybe he had these kinds of shoes, but I don't know for sure. But I do know that these shoes have been reused over and over again. So that's one thing I don't like. Another thing is that they put weathering on the shoes, which is great. It's awesome. It makes you think that he's been running around through the catacombs, rolling around on the ground, fighting off enemies. But my complaint with these is that the weathering was done kind of poorly. I mean, you can't see it from a far distance, but if you take a close look, you can see that, I don't know, they just sprinkled a little bit of paint on there, and that's it. I just don't think that it was done well enough. It doesn't look like actual weathering, it just looks like someone sprinkled a little bit of paint on there. And he's also got weathering on the bottom of his shoes, on the soles, on the treads. You can see some more weathering on this shoe. So yeah, not the best paint job on the shoes. So here you go. I don't know if you guys can see, but he's got more weathering on the soles of his shoes. And as usual, with every Hot Toys figure that is formally dressed with a suit, you get a pair of socks. And I do like the material on the suit. It's made of a really fine material. The only problem is the coat. The way that they stitched this coat in the armpits, man, it's really disappointing. They didn't give it enough slack. I'll try to explain it as best I can. the way they stitch the coat, where the sleeve meets the midsection of the coat, it's too low. So if they would have stitched it a little higher, like let's say, I don't know, right here, we would have been able to get more articulation if it was stitched higher. But since it was stitched that low, you have a lot of problems with the articulation on the upper part of the arms. So you can't get him to raise his arms too far up, and you can't make his arms go too far outward either. Even in the instructions, it advises you not to go any further out than 40 degrees. That would be upward and outward. So that's really disappointing. In the past, Hot Toys has made better stitching on suits, like the Bruce Wayne, for example, that I have up there. He's got way better articulation in the coat than this figure. Because, like I said, they were able to stitch the armpits a little bit higher on the Bruce Wayne. And it makes a huge difference when you're articulating a figure. Another thing I don't like about the outfit on this figure is that it doesn't have any cufflinks. So it's not really movie accurate, because in, I'm going to say, all of the movies, almost all the time he had cufflinks on, whether he was wearing the black shirt, which you see on him right now, or the white shirt. He always had cufflinks on. I don't know why Hot Toys didn't add that. Another thing I don't like about this outfit is that the tie doesn't sit all the way up. You're always going to be able to see a little bit behind the knot, which you're not supposed to see behind the knot. The shirt should be completely covered by the knot. I do like the vest. The way they made it is pretty cool. They added some magnets for the buttons, and they're pretty strong. So if I open it up, it closes by itself, as you can see. The tailoring of the shirt is nice also. The instructions do advise you to not remove the suit to prevent damaging the outfit. So if you don't know what you're doing, I would suggest that you do listen to the instructions on that aspect. But I've had plenty of experience with figures wearing suits, so I know how to take off the coat, the vest, and the shirt. I wouldn't advise taking the pants off the figure because it's got a faux leather belt, and every time you take the belt on and off, the faux leather starts weakening and eventually it starts falling apart. So I wouldn't remove the pants if I were you guys. Another thing I wish that this outfit had is the magazine belt that he wears to store his assault rifle magazines and handgun magazines. That's another missed opportunity from Hot Toys. I do like how the suit is pretty unique in the movie, how they tailored it especially for him. They gave it bulletproof material that's stitched inside the lining of the suit. Well, I guess they didn't give it to him. He paid for it with those gold coins that he always carries. And I think the vest also has an inlay of bulletproof material as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know for sure, though. I don't remember. But that's in the movie. The figure itself doesn't have any of that. But other than that, the outfit isn't bad. And you can also see the wedding ring that he has on all of his left hands. And Hot Toys does provide us with extra buttons as usual. And I do advise that you guys be very, very careful when handling the coat, because the buttons on the sleeves tend to fall off really easily. I had to glue almost all of them back on because they fell off. Luckily, I didn't lose any of the original buttons, so I just glued the same ones back on. And I didn't have to use any of the extra buttons that they gave us. Also, be mindful of the buttons on the vest too. You don't want those falling off either. So that's it for the outfit and for the score. Because of all the negative things, like the shoes and the coat and the no cufflinks, another thing they could have given us is an extra white shirt. Hot Toys has definitely done better in the past when it comes to suits. and they definitely could have done better when it comes to this John Wick suit. So I'm going to show some tough love and give the score for the outfit a 5 out of 10, because I know they can do better. Alright guys, so to talk you through this pose, I got this from the shootout in the catacombs, where he's running through there. He kills a few guys with his Glock 34, and he runs out, and then as he's running, he's reloading his gun. Alright, so stick with me and we'll roll on to the next category. Okay, now we've made it to the category of articulation, and as you can see, it's basically your regular Hot Toys True Type body. I believe this is the TTM 21 regular body. It doesn't have the narrow shoulders or anything else like that, and it's not the slim version either. It's just the regular body, although they did add some padding to the shoulders. I think they did that just because it suffers from giraffe neck, just a little bit. But anyway, we're going to start from the head. It has a ball and socket joint at the bottom of the neck, and it doesn't have any articulation right below the jaw where the jaw meets the neck. It's all one solid piece. It's got basic shoulder shrugs. It's got full 360-degree rotation on the arms, but I wouldn't suggest you do that with the outfit because you could tear it. The coat itself kind of suffers from poor stitching, so it doesn't allow for a lot of articulation. You get bicep swivel, you get double bend elbows, you get basic Hot Toys wrist pegs. The ab crunch is pretty good, forward and backward. The legs go out pretty wide. You could do the splits, but as I said before, the outfit hinders that. You don't want to risk ripping the pants, so I personally wouldn't go past 60 degrees. He can kick forward about 90 degrees, and he can kick backward a little bit, not too much. He's got double bend knees. He's got really good ankle articulation. It's nice and tight at the joints. He can stand up on his own, which is good. The custom John Wick figure that I had from part 1, the ankle joints were pretty loose on that one, so he had a hard time standing up on his own without a stand. So I'm glad to see that this one doesn't suffer from that. He does have good rotation at the hip area, left and right. The instructions advise you not to move the arms outward past 40 degrees because you don't want to rip the stitching of the coat. But if you want to do so at your own risk. But after playing around with this figure, I discovered that a lot of the John Wick poses that you want to get, you can't do them all. So that's about it for the articulation. So I'm going to give it the articulation 8 out of 10. So now we're going to talk about the dog. The dog does not come with the figure. I got this a long time ago on 16kit.com. This version is pretty much sold out. He might still have the sitting down version with the mouth open, but don't hold me to that. So this dog is made by Mr. Z. At least that's what it says on the box. And his slogan is "The Zoo in Your Hands." Basically because he specializes in making animal resin statues in 1/6 scale form. I think he focuses mainly on dogs. I really like it, even though it's made of all resin and it doesn't really have articulation, except for maybe the head where you can swivel it. But I wouldn't recommend you swivel it because it might chip the paint. So I would suggest that you take the head off and position it however you want and then put it back on, because the head is attached via magnet. So this version is the walking version with the mouth closed, and it is the Staffordshire Terrier. So that's what you would type in if you were trying to search for this dog. So yeah, really nice. It's really accurate to how the dog from John Wick Chapter 2 looked. And he comes with this faux leather collar. And he also comes with a faux leather leash. So all you would do is hook this hook to his collar. As you can see, the collar has a hook right there. So you would hook this to that, and then you would have a leash. And you can have John Wick hold the leash as well. Alright, so stick with me and we'll move on to the next category. Alright, so we've made it to the final category of accessories. But before we get into the accessories, I just want to show you guys this pose. It's from the scene in John Wick Chapter 2, where John Wick is talking to the Bowery King. And the Bowery King gives him a .45 caliber Kimber Warrior pistol. And I decided to put on the white shirt on the figure, and also put the 11 head sculpt on the figure. Alright, so enough of that. We're going to start the accessories off with the hands. It comes with 10 hands. It comes with a pair of gripping hands, so he can hold the knife or grip the vertical foregrips of the shotgun and the assault rifle. He also comes with a pair of relaxed hands that come on the figure out of the packaging. And as usual, they all have really good detail. The skin texture, the veins, and all. And it comes with a pair of trigger finger hands for holding all the weapons. And it comes with a pair of hands so he can cradle the shotgun or the assault rifle. And I really like the fact that they gave us a pair of hands for every gesture. Usually Hot Toys doesn't do that. Like usually they'll just give us one right trigger holding hand and one left cradling rifle hand. But with this figure, they gave us a pair of hands for everything. You also get one left hand that is kind of spread open. And we also get a right fist. Again, I don't understand why Hot Toys keeps doing this. Like, they used to give us a pair of fists all the time, and now lately they've just been giving us one fist for every figure. I don't get it. Like, come on, man. Give us a pair of fists, not just one. Alright, anyway, we also get an extra pair of wrist pegs, just in case you break the ones that are already on the figure. We also get a spare set of buttons, just in case you lose the ones that are on the outfit. And he also comes with this hexagonal base. And it's got the symbol of the blood marker on the top. And on the nameplate, as you can see, it says John Wick. But other than that, it's just a regular basic type stand. Moving on, we get a closed blood marker. And we also get an open blood marker with John Wick's bloody fingerprint inside. Really nice detail on both of those blood markers. And then we get a whole bunch of coins. We get 3 stacked coins, and they're pretty much all one piece. They're sculpted together. So we get 3 of those, and we get 5 individual coins. There's really nice detail on all of these as well. There's a lion on one side, and I can't really tell what's on the other side. But these are really tiny, so I suggest you be very careful when you're handling these. Because if you drop them and you lose them, then that's it. Bye-bye coin. And now we move on to all the weapons. We're going to start off with the Terran Tactical Innovations Glock 26 with Combat Carry Package. Terran Tactical Innovations is the company that makes this kind of customization, but I'm going to call them TTI for short. As usual, all the guns can have their clips removed, and you can see the bullet inside. The only problem I have with the Glock 26 and the Glock 34 is that the clips fit really loosely inside the gun, so they slip out and fall really easy. So they can do that, and the slide, as usual, you can move it backward. Next we have the Glock 34 with the TTI Combat Master Package. And on most of these guns you can see the Terran Tactical Innovations logo. So that's real cool. And as usual, you can take the clip out and the slide slides backward and forward. And then we also get the Heckler & Koch P30L fitted with a custom compensator on the muzzle. This gun was John Wick's preferred weapon of choice on part 1. He used it throughout pretty much the whole movie. He also used it in the beginning of chapter 2 when he was getting his car back. And then in chapter 2 he reburies it alongside several other weapons. And you can take the clip out as well. You can also cock the hammer backward. And then we have the .45 caliber Kimber Warrior with SOCOM Black G10 grips. And this one you can also take the clip out and you can move the slide back and forward. And the hammer can also cock backward. And then we move on to the heavily customized TTI TR1 ultralight assault rifle, fitted with a BCM Gunfighter Mod 0 collapsible stock. As you can see, you can extend it and collapse it. It also has a BCM pistol grip, and it's also got a PRI compensator in the front. And it also has a Trigicon Acupoint scope. And it also has an RMR on a canted rail, as you can see right there. It also has Magpul P magazines. And you can stick them together if you want, or you can have them individually. So it comes with 2 of those. And when John Wick is picking out his arsenal for his mission in the Continental Hotel, the man that's helping him with his selection of weapons, the sommelier, describes this rifle as having an 11.5 inch barrel, but in actuality it has a 14.5 inch barrel. And as usual, it's got all the same functions. And after that, we have the Keltec KSG shotgun fitted with an EOTech sight. And it also has a vertical foregrip. Now, I don't know why this figure came with a Keltec KSG shotgun, because he never used it in chapter 2. But I'm glad that he did come with it, because he did use it in the first movie. It also has some good weathering on it, so that's really nice. And then after that, we have the Benelli M4 Super 90 12 gauge shotgun. And it has a TTI M4 upgrade package, and it's fitted with a fixed stock, and it's customized by TTI. So they went ahead and put the mount where you can slot an extra shell for a quick reload. And you can also move this back, and that's where the shell casings would eject from after every round fired. This shotgun is really awesome. It could do devastating damage. And it's really cool when he uses this shotgun in the catacombs. Moving on, we also get 2 extra shotgun shells. So you can put these around John Wick's feet to make it look like they're spent shells. We also get his switchblade that he stores in his ankle. And then we get his infamous pencil. It's really nice that Hot Toys included this. I just wish that he had a hand that can grip this pencil. And this is an extra magazine for the Kimber Warrior. He also comes with a cardboard backdrop. It's basically simulating the background where John Wick meets up with Winston at the end of chapter 2. I believe it's a park. I believe it's in New York. It might be Central Park. It's basically the scene right before he gets excommunicated, and Winston gives him an hour to get out of the city before all the assassins start trying to hunt him down. So yeah, the accessories are going to get an 8 out of 10 because he could have come with more stuff. Like for example, I have here the Heckler & Koch HK416 with a shortened barrel and an EOTech 553 holographic sight and a vertical grip. And it has regular magazines, but in the movie he uses Magpul PMags. But that's okay because the TTI TR1 ultralight assault rifle, you can take those PMags and put them into the HK416. They fit pretty nicely in there. Now, in the movie, part 1, Keanu Reeves actually uses a Kohari Arms CA415. But it's basically the same thing. It's just an American clone of the Heckler & Koch HK416. You can see the writing on the rifle. It says Heckler & Koch. So yeah, it could have come with this gun. And it also could have come with the dog. And it also could have come with an extra white dress shirt, just like the one that the figure is wearing right now. But it's not all bad. That's why I'm giving the accessories an 8 and not any lower than that. So 8 out of 10. It's a decent amount of accessories. Another thing it could have come with is extra head sculpt. We see the battle damaged one it's got right now, but they could have also given us a clean head sculpt. Alright guys, so stick around for the next section where I add up the score and wrap up this review. So here he is with the Hot Toys head sculpt and the white shirt, just in case you guys were curious as to see what he looks like with it. And to talk you guys through this pose, you guys can see what he's about to do. So to add up the score and wrap up this review, guys, this figure gets a 44 out of 60. It's a pretty low score, but it's mainly due to the fact that he got a low score on his outfit and the packaging, which was average at best. So as I said before, the stitching on the coat wasn't that great. It hinders a lot of the articulation, and the weathering on the shoes was pretty bad, and the cufflinks on the sleeves, they could have put those on there. So yeah, there's a lot of factors. Okay guys, so that's another review done and in the bag. And once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please do so. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified of my latest videos. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. But until next time, guys, I shall catch you later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.